So, right, so we're gonna go over through all of them. So first I'm gonna put this over here. I'm gonna call this what is it? The basic supplies. We'll call them basic supplies. Basic supplies. So we're gonna make them, let's say, with a blue. Basic supplies. Okay, so the basic supplies basically include, in order, what the front line will need. So the front line attacks, right? You set up your FOB, and then you need to have some sort of supplies to counter them. A few things in mind are that if you do have the FOB set up, you won't. Let's say you won't have anything, and all you rely on is your Logi. So what comes to mind first? So let's say you have your original rifles, and you have a few more extra BMATs that you set up the FOB with. And the first thing you will need is, of course, rifles and ammo. So that's going to be the main priority when when the Logi sends you. So the first thing you want to do is you want to think about what the front line will need to be able to kill and defend. The rifles are a really good weapon when it comes to both. It's good to engage the enemy to a point, right? It's good on long range, and it's not terrible at close range considering it two shots. So if you get that shot initially as they're running towards you, you get another shot up close, and it should be fairly decent at, can defend with it. Second thing, the rifle is, although the pistol isn't terrible, the rifle's still going to be good at covering your FOB if you do not have BMATs. So at the end of the day, it's better to have a group of people defending your FOB rather than AI, which can easily get blown up by shut down and suppressed, right? So you want to have your players defending rather than the AI. You want to push towards that PvP, and the enemies will not be able to build up defenses till your FOB. If you have players defending it. If you have AI, then they can build as far as our AI can shoot them. So another thing is, so that's why we have rifles and ammo over anything else. That's the most important thing. Second most important thing would, of course, be the BMATs, the basic material. Without BMATs, you won't really be able to build any defenses around your FOB. The next next thing would be, yeah, SS, because if you have a constant uh, player base up defending in front, then I would rather have SS, rifles, and BMATs, because then you can also cover ground, basically like build up and push and defend at the same time with these three, rather than if I prioritize something else. So without these three, do not bother asking, well, what does the front line need, right? You have to have these, and you have to keep check of what the front line has. These are the three in order priority. The next thing would be, of course, you need HEs. Now I say HEs, and I don't mean frags. I just mean HEs. HEs are really good at taking out the enemy defenses without having to, suffer as much on your hand side. Without HEs, I mean, it's good to have all the other things, but without HEs, you will be taking out Foxholes, but you won't be doing it fast enough, and you won't be able to take out any other defenses. So HEs will be, of course, the next step. And after this, I would still put this into basic supplies. This is all depending on what we have at the time, what tech level we are. But yes, of course, I would suggest having meds after HEs. So this will be the order of the basic stuff that any FOB will need before you move on to anything else. And I'll put the advanced supplies into a few categories, and I'll mention which. So I have the weapon factory open on my screen right now. I know you guys can't see alongside me because if you want to, you can actually, I'll put it in clan chat. So as offensive, um, we can start off with the first offensive weapon that you might be sending. If you're so you have the FOB you can have the FOB in 3 stages. I forgot to mention this. I'll mention it in the scenarios after this. So the FOB can be in 3 stages, which is offensive, defensive, or kind of in the middle. In the middle is mostly when you have a stalemate, and where basically both of the FOBs have defenses, and they're both attacking each other and trading fights. So when that happens, you're probably gonna have to pick between both or specific ones, depending on the situation. But usually on stalemates, you want to be a little bit more offensive, so you can shoot down enemy defenses, and so on and so on. So okay, so for offensive, um, Of course, you all know what the most of the basic offensive weapon is when over the rifle is the SMG. The SMG is definitely the first and standard basic offensive weapon, and that goes into advanced supplies because again you would always like to have rifles. Let's face it, not everyone likes the SMG. It's not always good when using it. Like you can easily get sniped by a rifle, so it's good to have rifles at all times, which is why they're under basic and why the SMG is under advanced. Yes, it's true that you can prone on the ground and it shoots like a laser. Doesn't mean that it does damage though. You can definitely get out sniped. There we go. The revolver is technically a secondary gun, and I don't think you will ever use the revolver to engage. It will always be that gun that you pull out with your meds or with an RPG. Okay, now we're gonna go on back to offensive. We're gonna use some of the nades. Of course, the first nade I'll be talking about is a sticky. Sticky nades are one of the finest uh, offensive weapons that you can have. When it comes down to, they cannot be defensive. When it comes down to exchanging the HEs, it's really good to have stickies because this is of course with sulfur, so they're not necessary. That's why you will have them probably rarely, but if they can be produced, why not?
How do stickies work? Like, I actually never got to use them before.
The stickies, you pull the pin, or you don't pull the pin, you set them on fire, I guess. And then you have to run up to something, and then you place them. It sticks on a wall, or on a vehicle, or on a defense, and then you walk away before it blows up. You can run with it on fire. It's basically like a live grenade, and you have to place it. You place it down on top of you, basically. So within a timer, if you don't put it down, you will blow up with it. It doesn't do splash damage too much, but however, it does like 3 times the damage of the HEs. So it's extremely useful taking out uh, pillboxes. Not so good at foxholes. Do not rush foxholes. You're gonna get shot down. It's good against pillboxes, bunkers, garrisons, vehicles of any type. The frags as more of a defensive or both. I'm gonna put frags in the middle. The reason behind frags being in the middle, because you never really use frags to attack. Why would you? The enemies will probably be sitting inside foxholes, or will be basically sitting inside within the walls, or will be falling back if you're attacking. So frags will not help you against taking out enemy defenses, and they will not really help you against taking out infantry because you're probably gonna get shot at if you're attacking them with a frag grenade. You're basically chasing down an enemy with a frag grenade. You're gonna stop and shoot you. You're not gonna run away, right? So that's why I'm gonna put frags in both because they can help at offending, but they're not fully offensive. And they definitely help at defending when the enemy is setting up blueprints. You can just throw a frag and the blueprint goes down. It's definitely helpful when you have the attachment from the frag grenade, so you can put it on the rifle. But apart from that, I don't really see a huge use in frags, so that's why I won't really recommend them.
I use frags with the launcher quite often, as long
Right,
as
yeah,
there's
that's
a
what I'm
group
saying.
of people pushing,
Yeah, that's what I'm
either
saying.
going forward or going back. One person with the range, it just
Yeah.
them clustering.
The fucking range of that thing is amazing. It's just so huge.
Right, that's what I meant. But I'm kind of into thinking of putting shotguns more towards the defense side than the offensive side. But I'll put it in both because it's not wrong to push with a shotgun. Shotguns are fairly effective. But I'll get into why I put them in both. First of all, it's not I'm not putting things in both just because you can defend with them. You can defend with any weapon in the game, technically. I'm just putting them because they're effective at it. SMGs are very ineffective at defending, believe it or not. Because you'll get shot at from long range by the time they will not rush you when you're having an SMG. They're gonna shoot you as soon as they see you. So if you're defending, they're not gonna walk up to you. You're gonna have to prone or chase them down if you wanna. You're gonna have to close down the distance. That's why SMGs are in the offensive, and so are stickies. So the reason why I put shotguns in defensive and offensive is I personally think the shotguns are better in defense, and the reason behind that is because they do not have range. So that will absolutely deny them the ability to suppress defenses. So shotguns are really good at keeping it between just killing players. You're not gonna take out AI. So that's why I'm putting shotguns in the middle. They are effective, they're not perfect. Okay, so now RPGs. The RPGs I'm gonna put, of course, in the both again. RPGs are very effective at taking out defenses. However, I will say that the RPGs, I wouldn't personally just spam RPGs because most people don't even use RPGs and the terrain is really bad. Reason I put them on defense, you'll be like, RPGs will never help at shooting down enemies. They do not do too much splash damage, right? So the reason I put them in defense is because RPGs are the main thing you're gonna use against enemy vehicles, enemy armament, enemy armor divisions. So that's why they're in the middle. They're good at taking out the enemy vehicles, and they're good at defending them. So they're technically not offensive only. You do use them as defense. If I see someone use smokes as fucking defense, I'm going to literally shoot him down. Smokes are highly offensive, alright? Smokes are only used to disable enemy vision and not to, oh, I'm gonna throw a smoke down and I'm gonna make sure that they can't see where they're aiming when they're attacking. It's stupid. You're disabling your own AI. That's the stupidest shit ever. You're never gonna see them attacking. And if they're attacking, they're probably running at you, so you might as well prone and shoot them back. So that's why smokes are highly offensive. Do not send smokes to a defensive outpost. Ever. They will never get used. There's no reason to. If they are, they're helping the enemies, right? Do not do that. Now, you might disagree when I do this, but I'm gonna put the HMGs only on defense. I know you might say, "Oh, but the HMGs are great at suppressing." Well, that's true, but if you were to carry that weapon to the front line just to suppress foxholes, you must have a few guys with you to do so. So in order to achieve that, you can get shot back if someone's sitting inside the foxhole, which with any of these offensive defenses weapons you cannot, by the way. So you're an easy target. You're sitting down out in the open. You're gonna get shot. No matter what happens, you're gonna get shot. You're not gonna shoot them back. You're stationary. It's basically like using a mortar, but you're telling everyone, "Hey, look at me, I'm over here. I'm completely vulnerable because I can't shoot you down." That's why I'm putting them on defensive. They're really good at holding inside your defenses. If you do not have cover, HMGs are completely useless, right? So I'm gonna keep the HMG. They're more effective on defense. Let's put it like that. They're highly more effective on defense. I would personally use them on defense. If you want to use them on offense, make a half track. Now the green ash is good on both. Believe it or not, for those of you who didn't know, you can throw green ash to kill people inside defenses. It kills them instantly. So it's Hito just joined, but he doesn't. So you can throw them at people in defenses as long as they do not have gas masks. You'll completely one-shot kill them. They're very good at offense, and they're pretty good at defense. To be fair, if the enemy is pushing, chuck one of these down on the choke point. They're not getting through for a while. So they're the defensive smoke. Let's put it like that. Carbine is fairly decent at defending. It has 15 bullets. It has a very fast fire rate, so you will be able to maul down a couple of enemies. It's alright. However, it's highly effective at suppressing. It's more effective than the rifle at suppressing, and it is very good at attacking. It's basically like an automated rifle, so it's very effective. It doesn't weight too much. It doesn't weight at all. You're very fast when moving with it, and it's really good at disabling trucks. The carbine is the ultimate best offensive and defensive weapon in the game. The last thing I'm gonna do is go over the mortar. I'm gonna say this: I do not believe that the mortar is as defensive. I would not shoot or use the mortar to shoot down enemy blueprints as they're advancing. That's a waste of sulfur. I would only use mortars on high HP structures to take out, such as bunkers, pillboxes, You can suppress the upgraded Foxhole, so I wouldn't do that. Town Hall, Garrison. These 5 things I would definitely spend the sulfur on. And it might cost a little bit more sulfur to produce mortars than anything else, such as RPGs or stickies. That's the plain reason behind it being such high tech. It's easy to use the mortar, and it's easy to take out defenses. The advantage becomes that you spend more sulfur to make your job easier, which is, I guess, respectful. Why not? So that's why we'll put the mortars in the middle. No, sorry, in the offense. Now moving on to the few scenarios. Um, Whenever like we had this over here, we had this fully stocked. So we had the defenses. We made this FOB right here, just for those wondering, right? Our little recap for those of you who weren't there. We took the town using this FOB. So this is what in my mind this is more for frontline. What you end up doing is you see that we have a defensive latch. You see that you have basically somewhere to fall back to. So this is your choice. Now your choice is you have the defensive part secured. You have everything you need, supplies from latch. What you need to do is focus on offense. So we make this FOB right here offensive. And I don't know if you guys remember, what did I order? I ordered SS, rifles ammo, BMATs, and then the second we had all of that, I said bring smokes and HEs. Those smokes and HEs basically won us the town within the first hour after we had it. So when you're doing this, right, you need to know. It's good to know the combos between them, such as revolvers work with meds. Revolvers work with RPGs. If you have RPGs, request for revolvers. If you have mortars, request for revolvers. If you have HEs, request for smokes. So we didn't have that though. We just had a few foxholes over here, and we wanted to blitzkrieg, so we didn't want to spend too much time supplying it. We just needed the core supplies to be able to push through. We easily broke through this defensive line, and then we pushed on towards the town, where we then took key within minutes using the RPGs and the smokes and HEs. It was very, very effective. This is the fastest. This was a clean blitzkrieg where you had the offensive FOB only focusing on offense, and then you clean up through everything right, like straight up. That's why it was important that you know exactly which supplies you need and what exactly you need to do when you're doing these scenarios. At this point, once we took key, it was good to have HEs, rifles, and BMATs to be able to rebuild, uh, defend off, and be able to spawn inside key if necessary. So, and if you do have only BMATs, you can also request only BMATs because key itself, this is also scenario based, key itself has vehicle factory, ammo, and SS. So you could produce your own because the Logi is running in the back lines, way further back at Craigstown. So you could produce your own supplies. Depends on your situation. This is a town hall you're defending. It's not an FOB. FOBs are primarily offensive, right? You do not set up an FOB. It's rare in some cases, I'll mention right now, where you do set up a defensive FOB. Such are over here. I don't know if you guys seen FOB set up over here. These are highly defensive FOBs. You do not use this to attack, and here's why. There's no roads connecting these two parts of the remote places of the map, and they're further away from the enemy roads, and you have to use a far further distances to be able to go to the enemy FOB. Also, it's not on the road, so you can't have vehicles coming over. These are defensive FOBs. They're only used to place artificial intelligence or AI defenses on these spots to cover ground. So in these situations, you would only need to get BMATs, and you don't even need SS. You might need SS in case these locations get attacked from the enemy trying to get pushed through and go to your Logi, right? That's their only purpose. They're not even attacking these locations to get to Solas, Georgia to take a town. Their primary objective is to prevent enemies from taking our Logi. This is kind of what happened to the FOB that we built during FCL on the bridge. These are highly defensive FOBs. So I'm gonna move on to the same scenarios on this map that we played just recently. Our FOB was placed somewhere around here. It was right here, I think. I don't remember. So this is again offensive. Its purpose is to take straight. On the other hand, DK had an FOB set up right here. This is a defensive FOB. They're clearing out these areas of the map to be able to not let them through to destroy our Logi. Right? You go over here, you salvage, then you go with the salvage over here. You use your BMATs on the SS. You can put some all of your extra BMATs inside the vehicle factory for other players. You put majority of your fuel in there as well. Then you scrap these while your SS is done, going. Then your SS is done. You pick up the SS and the scrap. Go over here, get some extra fuel that you already put into the vehicle factory. Go back to your thing, salvage your stuff. Pick up your order for your ammo or place order for your ammo, depending on when you had it. Put it in the put the rest of your stuff into the FOB along with the BMATs you've already scrapped the dredge field, and go back and repeat the process. This is advanced stuff. I do it because I usually calculate exactly, and I spread out my BMATs as effectively as possible, and I see more opportunities. This is something that you would get throughout doing a Logi through for a longer time. You want to be as effective as possible and not waste time, right? Maybe you do this as a Logi player. I wouldn't know. Maybe you don't. But that's some things that I would prioritize is getting the most out of any scenario given.